Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Jeremiah, the 47th chapter, a prophecy against Philistia. And what we start to see here from Jeremiah 47 on to about maybe 51 is basically prophecies, right, that are against or concerning the judgments or evils that the Lord was going to bring to the neighboring nations that he mentioned, right? And some happened at that time, and some would be spread over the course of history, and some are still waiting or about to really take place now in this time. And those mainly in particular are Jeremiah 50, right? Jeremiah 51, which deals with the destruction of Babylon, but not ancient Babylon, all right, but that of America today. But we'll get into that when we get there. So this is Jeremiah 47:1 concerning the Philistines. The word of the Lord Yahweh that came to Jeremiah the prophet against the Philistines before that Pharaoh smote Gaza. So if you look here at the, let me see, Philistines map Bible. So you'll see here, this is a pretty good one. This whole coastal area was dominated by the Philistines. So before, as it says, before Pharaoh came over there and smote them or fought against them, it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, waters rise up out of the north, and shall be an overflowing flood." This isn't talking about actual physical water. It's describing the army of the Babylonians or the Chaldeans, likening them onto like a flood that is coming. As it says, and shall be as an overflowing flood, and shall overflow the land and all that is therein, right? Basically taking over and destroying everything in their path and conquering as they go forth. The city and them that dwell therein. Then the men shall cry, and all the inhabitants of the land shall howl. So just, obviously having your city attacked, your people being taken captive and slain, it would warrant a reaction as such. But that is judgment that the Lord said he would bring to them. At the noise of the stamping of the hoofs of his strong horses, at the rushing of his chariots. So the sound of the horses, running, right? That power, the sound of the chariots, the wheels against the ground. It almost feels like the ground is shaking with such a powerful army on their way to your doorsteps. And at the rumbling of his wheels, the fathers shall not look back to their children for feebleness of hands. Meaning, people, they're going to be so afraid and try to run away that even parents are going to, forsake their children for being so afraid. This is in the NLT. Hear the clatter of stallions' hooves and the rumble of wheels as the chariots rush by. Terrified fathers run madly without a backward glance at their helpless children. Not even looking back. Not even looking back at their children. Verse 4. Because of the day that cometh to spoil all the Philistines, and to cut off from Tyrus and Zidon every helper that remaineth. So any allies, because remember, once again, that territory, any allies that they had in Tyre or Zidon, they wouldn't be able to help them. They would all be taken over. For the Lord Yahweh will spoil the Philistines, the remnant of the country of Caphtor. Now, when you look into the word Caphtor, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, it is a region that's not in Israel. Okay, it says here, the original home of the Philistines, because the Philistines are not native to the land of Palestine or the land of Canaan. They actually came there, migrated there, you could say. And it makes sense why they're dwelling on the coast. But as it says, on the southwest coast of Asia Minor, maybe in Egypt or close by, or more probably on the island of Crete. Here they have it as the island of Crete, homeland or staging area of the Philistines. So, in secular history, they'll tell you, I looked it up here, I typed it in here, because I had seen it somewhere before. But it mentioned here, right, that the Philistines are not native to the land of Israel, as they were migrants who arrived from the Aegean region. And, and the Aegean is the Aegean Sea map. Let me zoom in a bit more. Yeah, okay. So this is Turkey or Asia Minor. If you go east, and you start coming south, you get to like Syria, and you come south, Tyre, Zidon on the coast. You come south, even more. You get to Israel, right, or the Levant. So the Aegean is over here, right, in the waters, little islands around here in this body of water. So in other words, they came from the west, right, and from wherever in particular, and settled over there in the coast of Israel. So that's why it calls them the remnant of Caphtor, being a region that's not in the land of Israel. Continuing in verse 5, baldness is come upon Gaza. Ashkelon is cut off with the remnant of their valley. And now it's personifying these regions where the Philistines dwell as like people, right? And baldness is representing mourning, okay, because that's what people would do when they were mourning or in distress, and that's signifying the condition the Philistines would be in with this calamity coming upon them. Ashkelon is cut off with the remnant of their valley, right? So that region of Ashkelon and all those that were dwelling in the plains, right? When it says the valley, it means the low area, the plains. How long wilt thou cut thyself, right? Which was also a sign of mourning, a practice that they kept. So saying, how long are you going to continue to mourn? Verse 6, O thou sword of the Lord Yahweh, how long will it be ere thou be quiet? So how long until you, referring to the sword, right? Till you stop, till you stop being active. Put up thyself into thy scabbard, which is the sheath, rest and be still. And this is sort of like the cry, right? The sentiment of their cries. Like, how long are you going to, have this judgment come upon us? Just put that sword away, just relax it for a bit. And the response is, how can it be quiet, seeing the Lord Yahweh hath given it a charge against Ashkelon? So how can the judgment stop or slow down, which is likened unto a sword? How can it stop, since considering the Lord is the one who has authorized it to come against Ashkelon or the Philistines and against the seashore? There hath he appointed it. And that's like, it's metaphorical, but it's also showing you that once the Lord has pronounced judgment, it doesn't stop. It's not going to rest and it's not going to chill. But that's the end of Jeremiah 47, right? Fairly short chapter, but going into the prophecy against the Philistines of the judgment that will come upon them. So, Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rechak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.